What would it profit? Profit a man to gain this world, but lose his soul. No, it ain't worth it.
For 10 minutes. Someone did a research, they came up with this idea. The first 5 minutes of a speech, people are going to put their 100% attention. Then the next 5 minutes, you know what's going to happen? They're going to have, I don't know, like things like daydreaming. And when it comes to the next 5 minutes, believe it or not, they're going to have sexual fantasies. That's what the research said, right? So, I don't want to go to that. That's why I asked the question. I believe in you. So let's go ahead, yeah? Chimp Paradox is something introduced by Steve Peters. He's a professor. He came up with this idea of Chimp Paradox. If you get our brain to the front, you have our frontal lobe. That is left and right. And then to the middle, you have our limbic. So in your head, since you were born, there were two people living. And that is yourself and the chimp. You won't believe it. Chimp is stronger because chimp has the instincts. Let me ask a question from you guys. There are two things someone is born with. Two things that we are afraid of. Do you know what them two things are? Anyone? We are born with two fears in our lives when we are born, naturally. The two things we are afraid naturally are falling and loud noises. Loud noises and falling. So these are the two things naturally we are afraid of. Do you know why? Because the chimp has been living there. Chimp is there when our brain electrifies so many things, million things in our brain. When it electrifies, what the chimp does is, chimp will tell you, you know what? We've been there, don't do it. Can you see this American crowbar story, the case? So Gage was a foreman in a railway station. But the important thing is, there was a time he had to use dynamite to blast a rock. Health and safety was not a big thing in that time, right? You know what happened? What happened was, when that blast took place, a crowbar went through his skull and his left frontal lobe completely damaged. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. He survived. But the story doesn't stop from there. He lived for 12 years. But then he went to work. What do you think when he went to work? If imagine the situation is now, right now, someone walks in with the left frontal lobe damaged. That is the human part of the brain, right? That is you making decisions. So chimp is already dominant. Your human is not giving instructions to the computer. So what is the possibility? He's gonna, how do you think he's gonna react? Any idea? Yeah, that's one. Panicking.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly negative though, isn't
Negativity.
Yeah.
And you lose temper.
it? Yeah.
You get angry. And the case proves us, for the rest of the 12 years that he worked in the same place, he was not the Gage they used to see. So miracles can happen, but still frontal lobe is important. That is you taking control about everything that you do. So that's important. It is important for us to convince ourselves there are moments that we need to focus, and there are moments that we need to say no to the chimp. There are battles we can pick, there are battles we should leave, right? Read the Serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. There are things that we cannot change, right? In life, it is out of your scope. So if we worry about them, that's chimp stressing you. So you need to convince the chimp, it is the time to leave because I can't control it. That's one way of doing it. And then the second part, to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Now, Serenity prayer is important. What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Any idea? Like Einstein. Einstein is fabulous and he's the smartest person who lived in that time of our timeline, right? But Einstein made the atom bomb and he realized what he did was wrong. If he had wisdom, wisdom is always three-dimensional. Before you have the knowledge, and at the same time the application also, you be smart enough to think how it is going to affect the community, how it is going to affect my family, how it is going to affect everyone, my loved ones and the ones I don't know. So that's why we need to stick with the plans and use wisdom, not knowledge. So think about finite players, like a football game, right? Football game, both are finite players. So because they are finite players, we will always see an end result. Agreed? But infinite players also, or infinite players, we will find. As an example, let's say the Cold War. America versus Soviet Union, right? It was a Cold War, everyone ran out of resources, they decided this is the time to stop it. Maybe it continues till this day, right? But the problem happens when you pit a finite player with an infinite player or infinite player. Why is that? Give me an example. One person won't, and the other person will run out of will. A small leader, not that tall, but he came, gave the confidence, and then they say in the history books, they won the war. But did Vietnam actually win the war? What do you think? Did they actually win the war? They actually didn't. But the problem is, that's why we need to have an infinite mindset. This will help you to beat the chimp. Because for US or America, they've had so many battles before. They won so many battles, so they knew their game. They know in the X amount of times, X amount of days, with the X amount of soldiers, we're gonna win a battle, right? But when it comes to Vietnam, Vietnam thinks this is our life. This is either life or death situation for us. So they gave everything. They gave up their families, they faced napalm bombs, lost so many lives, but still they kept going. So what happened was US lost soldiers, they did, but they still had resources, but they lost the will and they gave up. So the moral of the story is, when the chimp is saying us to give it up, we always need to be spot on with that. Be that infinite player.
Just thinking about everyday life, but that would be based on experience. You know, if you've been in similar situations before, knowing that perhaps you can see something through and have the confidence to stick with it. So you would be fighting the chimp in that sense too,
Exactly.
because you'd be on a path to knowing that you would get through to an end result.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You're sitting down with somebody, and it's great to have someone to mirror. Or if you are explaining a situation, they may feed back to you things that you've seen that you had no idea about. So you've got to be prepared to listen and maybe accept if they say something which, well, actually, I feel a bit, insulted by that.
That's your personality.
Yes.
So it's all about us getting ready to accept the truth. Sometimes we actually know the truth, but we are not ready to accept it because of the way we are. There are times we have to go back one gear and think, you know what, this is the moment. We need to reflect so that I can catch up the pace later. Brilliant. Okay, the activity starts now. Yeah? So I would like you to write, multitasking makes you stupid in one line. And after that, I would like you to number each letter underneath. Right? 1, 2, 3.
Each letter, what do you mean?
So under M, 1, U, 2, like that. So write the sentence first and numbers after that. Like multitasking makes you stupid.
That's already written down, so
it's a one and the
You can rewrite it. That's not a problem.
then is that 2 then?
I don't quite understand what you
So, so this, do you mean that M is 1, U is 2, L is 3?
Yeah, not that way. You can write the whole thing at a time and then you number them. And then second one is that way.
Right.
You write multi.
Tasking makes you stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tasking makes you stupid, and
Yeah.
then number them.
And then number them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
How are we doing, guys? Anyone finished? Yeah, brilliant. How are we doing?
But we'll end up with the same event.
How are we doing? Okay. Okay, how are we doing? Good? Timing? Are we all done? Brilliant.
Wait a minute. Hang on.
Okay, we still got people.
We're sharing.
Ingrid's on a broomstick.
No, it's not.
Are we all good?
Really?
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So, this group, how long we took? 50 seconds. How about this one? 45. 49. How about this one? 32 hours. When we are multitasking, our brain is thinking about, if we are writing just multitasking makes you stupid, our brain is ready to accept and register the next letters. Yeah? But when we are writing M and then 1, our brain is not registering that because brain is focusing on M and then the numeric values and then go up the ladder again, right? So in science...
You can't follow the sequence through.
Exactly. So that is more like an activity to understand that's what multitasking can do. That doesn't mean when we are hiring people to workplace, we always put in the job description, you should be able to multitask. Yes, that is fine. But when it comes to the situations that we talk about, having that one-on-one moments with our friends, the problems, we need to make sure that we leave everything behind, focus on one thing. Chimp Paradox, I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to give you some tips how you can manage your workload in a daily basis. Are you familiar with something called Pareto principle? Anyone? Anyone?
80-20.
Pareto principle.
80-20?
Exactly. But Pareto principle says, in our lives, 20% of the work that we do is accountable for 80% of achievements in our lives, right? So it is always about making sure that you understand the critical jobs on a daily basis. You don't need to go to work. Let's say you are just a staying-home mother, but still, the workload that you do, if you can understand, these are the priorities. Family comes first, right? My kids comes first, and then after that, I got my work priorities. That is fine, but you set the priorities because 20% of the things in your life, they are accountable for 80%.
It makes you focus for 25 minutes and you grab
Brilliant, that's Pomodoro. You have apps. So what's that app? What's the name of it? Forest. So yeah, that might be a good app for you to download if you want to use that. So Pomodoro is an Italian word for tomato. Whatever I do, for the 25 minutes, I'm gonna give my 100% undivided attention, right? We don't use phones, we don't go on social media, we don't use TV. 25 minutes, I'm gonna stay on it, stay put, give the thin focus on that, right? But after that 25 minutes, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. It can be going for a coffee, or I don't know, go and have fresh air. So I give myself 5-minute break, yeah? Come back and continue another 25 minutes. So each session is called a Pomodoro. So Pomodoro 25 minutes, 5-minute break, like that, you're gonna repeat it for 4 sessions. So you're gonna do 4 Pomodoros. Once you complete 4 Pomodoros, even if in your workplace, if you are working from home, not everyone of you may not be able to do it, because if you are, doing handling and depending on the job, you may be able to do it. But if you are working from home, this is a good technique you can use. 4 Pomodoros, you have a longer break, 30 minutes. Go with the dog and have fresh air, come back 30 minutes. So what science proves is, like, if you can do that, you're going to achieve that critical 80% of the things in your lives effectively. If you think this session is going to help another person, spread the word and share the video. So I think that will help them as well. Apart from that, thank you for having me. It was great meeting you all. I hope you will enjoy your time later. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
The past is gone. Now's the future.